The PR3114 is the compliance report for Title III Part A, Immigrant. The compliance report for Title III Part A, Immigrant, will have the same functionality at the top of the schedule as the other compliance reports in terms of having access to a printable version, to return to the table of contents, to save the schedule, or to access the instruction document. Part 1 is asking for the LEA to enter expenditure amounts in all of the focus areas related to supplemental activities, language instruction, education programs. Part 2 is asking for the expenditure amounts associated with the focus areas for parent, family, and community outreach. Part 3 is asking the LEA to enter expenditure amounts in each of the focus areas related to supplemental activities, support for personnel. Part 3, Program Implementation, has two questions that the LEA is asked to respond to for Title III Part A, Immigrant. The first question, did the LEA maintain control of Title III Part A immigrant program funds being used to provide equitable services to private school immigrant students and their teachers? Yes, no, or not applicable. Again, if the LEA said yes, the LEA must list the sources of documentation that are readily available to submit to the agency to document compliance with this requirement. If no, the LEA must explain the reason for the non-compliance, and if NA is selected, the LEA must explain why the requirement is not applicable. The second question among the program implementation questions, did the LEA's Title III Part A immigrant-funded programs provide enhanced instructional opportunities for immigrant children and youth? Yes, no, or not applicable. The LEA is asked to explain the compliance status. If yes is selected, the LEA must list the sources of documentation. If no is selected, the LEA must explain the reason for non-compliance. Or if NA is selected, the LEA must explain why the requirement is not applicable. In Part 4, there is additional space that the LEA may use to provide additional information. This is an optional space.